I went from a level 3 sword to a level 6 in less than an hour. I was also able to get my magic up to a level 4 and my hearts up to at least a level 5. Now, this actually makes the game a walk in the park when you get Link at a higher level. Well, until you fight the reptile man, that is. Remember how I said the shield magic would come into play later on? It is crucial for defeating bosses. Always use your shield magic, and I would try to aim for their head if possible. When facing the Iron Knuckle, for instance, you can use the jump magic, although if you do, you're lowering your survival rating because you won't be able to heal yourself and then you're in trouble. See how when I'm attacking the Iron Knuckle, I'm aiming for his head? With my high attack level, I'm putting some serious damage on this otherwise insanely hard boss fight. Magic is really important to use on bosses. Just make sure that you use the right type of magic. Like for this Phantom, Boss No Likey Reflection Spell. I'm stunned by how many gamers think this boss is hard. It's common sense that if the guy has a spiked helmet, you don't try to jump on him. Even trying to do death from above, you only result in Link pulling spikes out of his tush. No. If you notice, the enemy has a weak spot that only your lower sword strikes can break through. Once you realize this boss becomes one of the easiest bosses in the game, and I really mean that. When facing the dragon, you guys can use a combination of magical spells, like I use, Shield, Jump, and Reflection. Reflection is a good idea because Link can deflect the fireballs coming at him. Most people don't use this Reflection spell for the dragon, but I think that if you have enough health and magic, then why not? Alrighty, it's time for the second to last boss. You have to open up with a Thunder spell, that way the enemy can be attacked. The enemy will then turn blue, and you can put the hurt on him. It's important that you dodge the falling fireballs of death because they really do hurt. However, I've found that the enemy himself doesn't do damage onto you, only the projectiles that he throws at you. So I would really suggest not getting hit by those. I also suggest that you take your time with this boss, and eventually you will win. Just pace yourself, use the jump spell, and remember to use the shield spell. Alright, it's time for the final boss for this game, and guess what? It's your own Shadow. Shadow Link first appeared in this game, and man was he a beast. Zelda 2 before this had a lot going for it, and a lot not. Weird how that worked out. Anyway, this is another example of how if you know how to school this guy, it's like cake. If not, he's going to own you. Remember, use your shield spell before you fight him. Now for the simple secret to beat him. Go for the legs and stomach. Move to the left-hand corner of the screen, duck and swing your sword like a cheap wind-up monkey. I know this gets really boring after a while, but hey, it gets the job done. Otherwise, your Shadow is going to mop the floor with your face and take you to school and toss you in a locker of despair or something along those lines. Patience is the key to this fight, to the death. After a while, you will beat him. Stick to my little walkthrough, and you guys will be calling Zelda 2 your slave in no time at all. Most people have a long list of reasons why they hate Zelda 2. Me, I only have 2 things that I hate about this game. Let's start with number 1, the reptile men. Especially the ones that throw those big rocks at my head and my shield doesn't work and there's no way for me to run and they keep pummeling me with rocks. It's like I have a shield but I can't use it. Can somebody tell me what's up with the rock-throwing reptile men? Seriously. Alright, it's time for number 2, the small enemy. I died way too many times fighting those eyeball thingies, enough to the point that I was this close to giving my NES controller free flight lessons out the window onto the sidewalk below. The reason the eyeballs are so sucktacular is because they remove experience points. Now listen, if you're already maxed out to level 8, then it doesn't matter, but still! Anyway, the final thing that I have wrong with this game is the music itself. Now, I can understand if it's not a Zelda game, but if they're passing this off as a Zelda game, then it has to have awesome music. No excuse. Okay, so this game did have its shortcomings, but listen, being able to level up Link to a level 8? Do you know how awesome that is? And the stronger you become? I mean, that is like wicked epic. Another really cool thing is being able to be healed by women in the towns for free. Later, I think this was replaced by the fairies in the spring, but still, this was years ahead of its time. Getting new magic for Link to use is another really good quality about this game, especially the magic that will protect you. The shield magic is a great asset to Link and comes in handy throughout the whole game. Best part is, too, you get it in the first town you encounter. Now that's genius. The Reflect spell repels all kinds of attacks and spells off Link. There's also a spell that will turn you into a fairy. That's actually kind of weird. This spell is great from getting away from enemies stronger than you, or just being lazy and don't want to fight. The best spell in the game is the ability to heal yourself. Instead of carrying 4 bottles like in later games, Link can heal himself whenever you have enough magic. Now that is uber. I mean, think about it. If you have the spare magic, Link is almost invincible. Most people tend to complain about the sword combat, but I think that it's actually pretty good for back then. Link could use his sword in the air and on the ground. Only thing missing here was the spin attack, although Zelda 3 picked up that tab later on. Another thing that this game had going for it that most people say that it didn't is when you had to continue once you did lose, and trust me, you will get beat. You start back at North Castle, but you do have all your items, spells, and your skills, plus your last earned level. The only thing that was removed was your experience points. Still, even if you don't like this game, it's not as bad as the CDI Zelda games. In fact, it's nowhere near as bad. Now, the CDI Zelda games, they were bad because they weren't made by Nintendo. They were licensed by Nintendo, and I don't really count them as Zelda games. Zelda 2 sadly did not live up to the hype from the first game, and Nintendo threw us a curveball that we quite frankly weren't ready for back then. Which is a shame because had this game had better music and marketing and representation, Zelda 2 would have been one of the best NES games ever made. Sadly, what we got was an underrated and overlooked Zelda adventure to this day. It's hard for me to call this game a gem because there are certain aspects of it that still drive me crazy. Zelda 2 tried to be different, and I really respect that. What I don't respect is how the game and Nintendo didn't meet the fans halfway. Had it not been for Zelda 2, though, A Link to the Past wouldn't be the best in the series, which in turn would mean you guys wouldn't get Ocarina of Time. This game on its own is amazing, but I can't see it as a Zelda title. Not with the music and not with the presentation the way it is. So that being said, I give Zelda 2, Link's Adventure, a 7 out of 10. Okay, before I have an angry mob outside my window explaining, "Oh, you said you were going to make this review far different than anybody else." I did make this review far different than anybody else on the net. It is the most in-depth and detailed Zelda 2 review ever. Does that mean the score is going to be like an 8 or 9? No! The game had some faulty issues that a lot of people still don't like it. Myself included. However, I don't think that this is the worst Zelda game ever to buy. But it is a really big departure from the first Zelda game. And the fact that Koji Kondo wasn't even there to do the music? I mean, come on. But you heard me rant about that already. Anyway, folks, my theme song is going to take us out. Thank you so much for watching this review. Stay glued to Got Game, the Game Nights channel, therealgamemaster.com, and this is K-Wing saying God bless and happy gaming. Thank you again for so much for watching. Please subscribe, and until the next time, this is K-Wing saying, see ya. Hey, what's up, gamers? I hope you guys enjoyed. Well, folks, it's time for us to start Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Review with nothing. Well, folks, it's time for us to start... Well, folks, it's time for us... Stop doing that!
I'm just trying to keep the motivation and energy up.
Well, folks, it's time for us to start the Zelda 2 Adventure of Link. Heaven Father, why? So much to do. Blooper reels. So much time. Now you control Link with the Nest remote. Now you control Link